have everybody sign at the same time. All right, the three of you, I will do together. All right. Well, let's do it this way. Let me say I, you each say your name and then I'll finish.
Okay.
So I
Omar Brooke,
Mavis Oswald, Lisa Piggy.
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as a member of the town council, or excuse me, as a member of the town of Anacott Town Council, beginning January 1st, 2025 and ending December 31st, 2028.
I do.
I do.
Perfect. All right. Please don't go anywhere.
You guys need pens? I have a pen.
And here's yours, sir. Need you, oh, I'm gonna sign everybody's, but if you'll sign both copies at the top. Or at the top line, so. You'll be back on the sign. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Fletcher.
Actually, no, I'm gonna take one and you're gonna keep two. You get the pretty ones.
I'll put them in your employee folder. Oh, hold on.
Where's your one with the seal? I need to sign that one though. Yep. Congratulations. Yep. Nope. Here, this one going to be.
Right, thank you.
Well done, thank you.
Seals. I got one in here.
Here's Lisa's.
No, I got Fletcher seal signed and delivered.
Yeah, I think all four I have.
I've got Lisa signed, Omar signed. I need Mavis signed with seal.
She may have it.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am. She was part of that, evidently. Yes, ma'am. Lisa, there's that. You take that for a sign. Oh, you put the seal already. Perfect. Thanks, guys. Congratulations. You're welcome. Have a good night.
Okay, I'm gonna call is this on? Can you hear me? Doesn't sound like it's working real well. I'm gonna call the regular meeting of the Nancock Town Council to order. Wait for. Oh, I couldn't see you back there. Okay. Can you call the order, please, David? Roll.
Hi.
can you,
Hello. Hello. I turned it on. Does it sound like it's on? Can you hear me? Okay.
okay. All right, we ready? Councilmember Figgy,
Present.
Councilmember Grubb,
Here.
Councilmember Holdren,
Present.
Councilmember Marino,
Here.
Councilmember Knock,
Here.
Councilmember Oswald, and Mayor Foskey.
Here.
Okay, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Mayor, I think we need to make a motion to edit the agenda so that we can add the administrative assistant from Historic and Hancock School.
Okay, yeah, okay. That's the introduction. I don't think
Oh,
we
that's
can-
fine.
yeah, we can-
However you want to do it.
it's not, we're not voting on anything, yeah. A couple announcements. Is my mic working? Can anybody hear me? Yeah, okay.
That's better.
Working better. Yeah, please turn your cell phones off. If you want to sign up to speak at the public hearing, there's a sign up sheet when we came in. Please do that. A couple announcements before, in case people leave. I've been handed this for the town is the Nancock Community and Nancock Town Council are having a blood drive Monday, March 3rd, 10 a.m. to 2. It's right here. So if you want to please show up, it's a little bit of a, isn't like a contest with other towns, or is this different?
There's a pint count per population.
Okay,
So we haven't won yet.
okay.
Subtle.
Settle. Okay, so if you want to give a blood here at March 3rd, put it on your calendar anytime between 10 and 2. All right,
Question on that,
Yeah.
does there need to be registration ahead of time to schedule?
There are walk-ins sometimes available, but we do encourage you to go to redcross.org and put our zip code in. Our blood drive will be there. Each available time slot will be there. So it's a much easier way to do it. Thanks for asking.
the second item is in lieu of the recent water issues we had. It's come to our attention that a lot of people are not receiving the town alerts that come out on text messaging. So if you, Mary Ellen has some little forms, all you have to do is text this number and it automatically signs up and you get a text message. You get a text message when problems are going on with the town. We also have, you have to sign up separately if you want to get the web email messages, correct?
Yeah, if you want to get the email messages, all you need to do is go on to the website. There's a communications button and you can ask for anything you'd like. So
Right.
give me your email address. You can send me your email address via email
Right.
and I'll add you to that manager minute.
Right. But if you get the text messages, that pretty much covers the emergencies and stuff like that, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
And
They
it's
both
also
do.
on Facebook. We announce stuff. So yeah, that number is 91896. If anybody wants to text that right now, 91896. Okay. All right. Okay. The first item of business is the election of the vice mayor. We normally elect the vice mayor every 2 years when we seat the new council. So council, do I have any nominations for Mavis as the existing vice mayor? So, Anybody?
I nominate myself.
Okay, all right, do we have a second on that?
Second.
Okay, all right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Was that unanimous, everybody?
Yes.
Okay, unanimous, okay, thank you. Mavis, you're for the next 2 years, all right, thank you, all right, okay, we need a motion to accept the December 16th, 2024 meeting minutes. Can I have a motion to accept those? Second?
Second.
Okay, discussion or any corrections that haven't already been passed on to Debbie?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you, June.
With humble suggestions, Debbie, knowing how difficult it is to take minutes. On page 4, when it said that we approved the lease, omitting 17E and item number 10, I'm not sure what those are. So in the future, maybe we could, I think we discussed that for those.
The lease would have been in the packet, correct, at some point, yeah.
This,
Yeah, but it's in the formal packet that we keep for the meeting, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So that should take care of that. I think that's about it.
Okay, all in favor of the minutes?
Okay, hold on. I don't know that I got a, oh, Lisa second. Okay, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. All right. We have no public hearing scheduled today. Public presentation, we have Nancock Main Street. Where's here? Oh, there. Hey,
I'm Cindy Mackey. I joined the board this year, although I was involved with Onancock Main Street since 2018, when we did the initial branding, the logo for the town, and also the website experienceonancock.com. And what we're going to run through, and I'm going to try and do it very quickly because I know you have a lot of things to discuss, but we did a survey this past summer and asked people what they wanted to happen in Onancock, what they liked, why they came here, and we had about 404 responses to the survey. And the interesting thing is 95% of those people are residents, either in Onondaga, on the Eastern Shore, or they have a second home here. So these people really are invested in the town, and so the answers really count a lot to us as we form our strategies moving forward. So we'll just go to, we asked people, yeah, this, what you'll see right now, that was the 95%, only 5% of the visitors counted in the survey. The interesting thing is in the Nancock, 90, we rock in the old age group. That's our strength. 45 to 65, we've got that market. But we also have about 54% employed, 44% of people are retired. Wow. So that's a very unusual number and a very significant one as we're planning things moving forward. What you'll see is how do people learn about what's going on? Because most of these people are residents, it's word of mouth. But second is social media. And that's really important why we're doing a social media marketing campaign and some of the other communications that we do through Nancock Main Street. What you'll see here is how important social media is for visitors. If you'll see that yellow graph, the yellow line is how I get information. And for visitors, it's social media. For everyone else, it's word of mouth and then social media. Why do people come here? Dining, farmers market, concerts, events, shopping, arts and entertainment, and then it goes down from there. I won't mention what's on last on the list, but new businesses that people want to see in Onancock, everyone, ice cream shops, grocery, restaurants, a brewery, distillery, bookstore, home goods, and there's a very long list of all the things that people want to see happen here. But what's interesting is when we're planning things, we know the ones that are ranking highest. And so that's really important. What would you like to see more of? To see that really long line at the top, that's empty buildings filled with businesses. And so for Nancock Main Street, we take that as a priority. We feel like that is one of the most important things that we can bring to the table over the next year, and we have a plan to do that. Also, what you're going to see is people want landscaping. They want the town to be beautiful. They want to have flowers. They want to have trees and gardens, and that's what enhances our quality of life. The things that people have attended, the farmers market, movies and plays. Oh, everyone was surprised to see how high ranked movies and plays were, but that's a big draw. It's very nice. Food and drink events, parade, second Fridays, and then the list goes down. But there's so much to do here. It's great that people are supporting it. What 3 reasons do you use to encourage people to visit? Dining, the activities that we just mentioned, water, boating. But then here's the thing. When you look at all the other really highly ranked things, the town is beautiful. It's walkable. It's a small town. It's historic. It's friendly. Even the head of the Eastern Shore Chamber of Commerce told us at one of our workshops that people told him all the time that Onancock is the friendliest place they've ever been to, which I thought was fascinating. And my friends even tell me that when they come up to visit. So that's a wonderful thing about this town. So when we're asking, how can we encourage people to bring their business here, start it, or move a second location here? The number one thing was the supportive local community. And the consultants who ran the numbers and did the analysis of this survey said, that's not usually a number one thing. That's usually pretty far down the list. And so it's really important that we have this local support here. And then the second one are the people, the friendly customers. Then we have this beautiful business mix and location, tourists, affordable real estate, we have rents. I mean, we have a strong asset, a list of assets that we can use to bring businesses to Onancock. So what the what our consultants did is they aligned our 2018 survey with the 2024 survey and said, what's happened? What can we expect? And one of the things is that we need more dining. We need a lot more dining. We need about 26,000 square feet of dining that we can support here. So that's a lot more restaurants and maybe delis and different kinds of things, foreign restaurants, all kinds of different types of restaurants. And the other thing we need is some kind of small grocery. The consultant said, although we couldn't probably support a very large grocer, excuse me, we can support a specialty grocer in a little smaller type of space that would be unique to Onancock. So that's the survey. You all will get printouts of everything so that you can take a look at that in more detail, and we'll run through what we're proposing now.
What? Which one do you want next?
The business recruitment plan. So we developed, based on the priority, what we want to focus, one of our major strategies for years, and that is to recruit new businesses and retain the businesses that we have. That's essential. So we developed this business recruitment plan based on that survey. The goals are to recruit new businesses, retain and grow existing businesses, and this is going to bring capital and job growth for the town and the county. So that's important. Main Street of America, who accreditates the Onancock Main Street program, has said for communities like us, smaller than 5,000 people, we're going to have to look at people coming in. And just from our employment and retired numbers that we looked at before, we have to balance the entrepreneurial startups with really bringing people in here. So a lot of people are moving to Onancock from different places, and they're the ones that we really need to encourage to start a business here. So there's a little balance there. Some cities have a lot of really young people, and so startup is more important, but here we have a little balance. So our target audience are businesses within 100 miles of Onancock on the Eastern Shore, or residents who are moving here and wanting to establish a business. So these could either be startups or additional locations for existing businesses. There are a lot of tactics, just in a nutshell. We're going to make it easy for people to open a business here. We're going to identify all of the landlords with open spaces. We're going to ask them to participate with us and all of our partners. And our partners are including the town, the county, the OBCA, Eastern Shore Community College, and whoever else wants to be involved in this. We're going to inventory all of the spaces, and we're going to put them up on a website so that people can go to one place and see all of the available spaces that are open for Onancock, what that space looks like, a link to either the realtor or the owner so they can immediately start getting information about rents. Is it available? How can I make this business open very easily? We're going to develop a business prospect list. So from those categories like ice cream shop, grocers, we're going to develop a list of prospects of businesses that we know within 100 miles that we can go out and solicit and give them information about Onancock, all of our assets, and why they should open a business here. We're going to do all of this marketing online on a new portal that we're establishing off of experienceonancock.com. It's going to be onancockmainstreet.org, and that's going to launch within the next month. I showed this plan to Scott Hall, who is the head of workforce development for the Eastern Shore Community College. He and I worked together for 10 years when he was the second in command of Virginia Beach Economic Development. And their job was to bring in new businesses for job growth and capital investment. He looked at the plan. He said, we're your partner. What can we do to help? I said, great. Okay, so we just start developing how the community college can bring in experts to provide business counseling for the businesses that are coming in and the existing businesses. We can do one-on-one counseling with professionals, and they have these new certification programs, and this one that they are that is the first one in May. It's for hospitality managers. And it'll be the first time on the Eastern Shore, 10 graduates. To us who need restaurants, that's invaluable. These are candidates that can just walk into a restaurant and professionally manage it or open their own business. So I think it's exciting.
Can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
I got a notice that they're not advancing on Zoom, the slides.
Oh.
I said they are here, so I'm not sure if there's, I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
We're going to promote it through public relations, social media. We can run some ads on Facebook. We can run ads on Facebook Marketplace for available spaces. We're going to meet with the prospects that come into town in the beautiful new offices that we are going to lease through the city, which is a wonderful place to meet people and then take them on a walking tour of downtown Anacog. And then we'll follow up with these business prospects. So from my experience in marketing, whenever you do a plan, you got to say, how are we going to measure the success of this plan? And when are we going to know that we're doing a good job? Well, when we have new businesses open up, that's one thing. But we're also going to have to look at the numbers, like how many people are participating, how many website visits we're going to have, how many educational programs we're offering, and the number of businesses that are in Anacog that we're going to be able to reach to help them through their business success. So now we get to, you guys have already approved funds through a previous downtown investment grant on a 2-to-1 match. And the Virginia, this DIG grant, the investment grant, the Virginia Main Street already committed or already gave us $16,750. And so the town was doing a match on that grant 2-to-1. And there's still $15,750 that we would ask that the town appropriate to this program so that we can prioritize and get this running off the ground. And just also want to let you know, we have also asked the county of Accomack to match this grant. So they would be contributing, we're hoping, the same amount. So it's already been appropriated, but we're just asking if you would approve it to be used for this program. And lastly, sorry, they made me do the whole presentation. Okay. We're gonna go to the, this is our annual update of what on Anacog Main Street.
Hold on, did I do this one already?
Yes,
Yeah,
that was
Yeah.
the survey.
Sorry.
it's
All right.
called,
2024 year in review.
Hold on, sorry.
There it is.
that's
Yeah.
that one, yeah.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
So the Anacog Main Street is really here to make sure that residents and businesses love Anacog, that visitors come and they want to return. And we do this by forging partnerships and through the community and cultivating our downtown businesses and enhancing everything that we have here in Anacog. So last year for tourism, we had about 5360. We had about $63,000 for a marketing fund. And we use professional company Advanced Travel, who they do this all over the country, and they are so good because they measure the effectiveness of everything that they do. So we know where the dollars are being spent and which ones are most effective. So we spend social media ads in feeder markets, DC, Baltimore, Hampton Roads, Philadelphia, and Charlotte. And then we measure how many times those people see the ads, if they respond to them, and then we know by tourism numbers that people are actually coming here. We also do a couple other promotions. As you know, we just started our Valentine's promotion, and we've put up some lights, and we've gone to all the businesses to see if they can do some specials so that we can promote this to visitors coming into town. Now, the campaign totals for the last year, this is December to December for 2024. The advertising campaign reached 4.2 million people, which was a 157% increase from the year before. That's pretty impressive. The clicks were 124,000, which was also almost a 400% increase from the year before. And the click-through rate for the whole year was 2.9. Industry standards say if you do anything over 2, it's good. 2.9 is almost 3. That's really good. But when we measured for December, we were at 5% click-through rate. That means that from all the impressions that they actually see your ad, then they click to your website. And that is an action that that's engagement, and that's what we're looking for. So that's where we are. But here's a really cool thing. Karen Monroe from the board pitched a story to Southern Living on Cozy Onancock is a great place for a winter getaway, and they included us in that article. And the next slide shows how important that was. That article reached 17.2 million people. And it aligns really nicely with this Cozy Up to Onancock campaign that's ongoing. But the readership for Southern Living is average household income, 122,000 people. Those are people who travel. And the average age is 50, right in our wheelhouse. So this is perfect. The Virginia Main Street Downtown Investment Grant also gave us $5,000 last year, which allowed us to do that research, which then allows us to form our strategic plan. The Between the Waters bike tour brought 1,200 people to town. Onancock Main Street worked with all of the other community partners. The cyclists were blown away. It lined up with Halloween. The whole town was decorated. There were things for people to do in every restaurant and entertainment venue. And it was just, they had such great experience here. And we hope we get that crowd again, because they are also really good tourist spenders. But here's the nuts and bolts of that. But Onancock Main Street did a lot to reach out to them, to get them to come here, have a great time, work with all the local businesses, and also do the promotions behind it with everyone. So how we build community, all of the volunteers, we have a very small but mighty board in Onancock Main Street, 2,750 volunteer hours last year. We send out a quarterly newsletter, and we do ongoing business support to the businesses that are in town here. So for the placemaking, we received these 2 grants for downtown improvement grants, and we're really excited about 2 murals that are going to be coming up. One is going to be at 38 Market Street. It's going to be a mosaic that New Ravenna is doing that's going to depict the Onancock Creek. And then we've already started working with the property owner on Market Street. That'll be a welcome to Onancock, celebrating our diversity and celebrating all of the assets that we have here. And we also celebrated the opening of the Coldwell Banker building this year and welcomed that real estate company and a new hair salon that moved over their campus. We've also helped some businesses with architectural renderings. You see the brand new patio that the Blarney Stone opened. You can see the before and after there is really impressive. So we help businesses by providing these kinds of services. The updates, Lisa Figi is our president, and Jeff Adler also joined the board. We are developing this new website. We developed new branding just for Onancock Main Street. So we would differentiate the organization from the town, because originally they looked too similar. So we think it's important that the town has a very unique, distinct brand. We finalized some business things, our operating policy, our social media policy. We said goodbye to Ginny Gaiman, and we're sorry to see her go. But currently we are advertising for a new program manager. And if you want to see the job description and share it with everyone you know, go to experienceonancock.com, and we would appreciate that. So we are going to ask for some matching funds for this year for some new DIG grants, and these are the ones that we use for marketing. And the first one is a 1-to-1 match. It's a $20,000 Virginia Tourism Leveraging Grant, and that will be the tourist marketing campaign that goes out to all these feeder markets. The second one is a downtown improvement grant for $25,000. That is a 2-to-1 match. So with the town providing $25,000, Hancock Main Street actually has $75,000 to spend with the town. And we will develop those programs together, collaborate on what you would like to see, because there's a lot of things that we can do to improve the facades, the landscaping, the lighting, wayfinding. So that's something that we want to discuss with you moving forward. But we really want to say thank you. You have been invaluable for your support over the years. We can't accomplish anything without your support here. We're really excited about our new lease. We know it takes a village, and we're really ready and excited for 2025. So thank you.
Does council have any questions, or you're giving something around here? Yeah, okay. This is just what we saw right there, yeah.
It is, but I figure you go back and reference it and if you have any questions.
Okay. Thank you so much, Cindy. Really wonderful presentation, and you guys do so much. We appreciate it. All right.
We can ask about.
What?
Do we need a motion for the council to approve
The open for
changing
business.
the use of the money already appropriated?
Yeah, we do need that. That you're the one that was approved from last year that you didn't
Right,
get
right.
the full grant.
Yeah, correct.
You want to explain that one more time to us? Yeah.
So the downtown investment grant is a 2-to-1 grant. It would have been $75,000 total from the state with 32.5 from the town, which they did appropriate for our use. They funded 3 out of the 4 projects that we had asked for in the grant application. So we'd ended up not being able to get the full 75 from the state, which meant we only took 16,750 from the town, which left 15,750 on the table. And we've come up with this program then, which we thought would really kind of hit home. I know some council members have said that they feel like Main Street's job is to recruit businesses. So we're hoping that you're excited that this is a direction that we're going in, and we have the research to back up the need and desire for it in the community as well. And so that's why we're asking to be able to utilize those funds as well. This is already money you've appropriated for our use. We just didn't need it all for the grant. The other 2 items that she just shared with you for next year would be for your next fiscal budget for your grant matches for us.
I move that we approve
That makes
the
sense.
change in use of the funding to the Open for Business program.
Do you have any amount there? Yeah.
Yeah, could we clarify exactly before we?
Well, we have a motion.
Second.
I'll give a second.
Okay.
Now I can ask. How much are you asking for and what are you gonna do with it?
So the 15,750 is what was remaining out of the 32.5 allocation.
60.
15,
Okay. Okay.
actually, I think, is it 15 too? 750.
Okay.
We took 16,750 already for the match.
And you would do?
So that's the open for business plan. So that would be, some of it would be for administrative to have we'll probably look at potentially hiring somebody to manage the program. We're gonna need pictures, we're gonna need conversations with, it's all in your packet as well, but that's pretty much the gist of it. And we are asking for the county to match because we do think this is a benefit to them as well. And I think it's a benefit to the entire Eastern Shore. Yes, Mayfield.
My question was that, what you asked for was a match
Correct,
and you got the match,
I did.
but now you're asking in addition to the match, because that was what we appropriated in the first place was a match.
Correct.
And now you're asking for the balance of the match that you didn't get.
Correct.
No,
Okay,
no,
yes,
the council approved
Yes.
the entire matching money,
But
right?
it's dollar for dollar.
This is
when
not being
and
matched
I
by the state.
understand, wait a second.
Yeah.
My point is that we matched the funds.
Correct, you did.
Okay.
allocated.
Yes.
And the other 15 was only there if you had the other part of the match,
That's correct.
correct?
That's correct.
And you didn't.
So this is not, we're not, the state's not
So now
matching.
you're
the-
asking for,
Yeah.
in addition to what you did match, $15,000.
Which is money that had already been appropriated
It
for.
wasn't,
the
it
match.
was only as a match.
I understand what you're saying, but it's
Okay,
not like we have to
that's fine.
find new
That's not
money
question.
elsewhere in the budget. It's already money that's
Just
sitting
want
there.
And I don't think
clarification.
we've ever made a motion to that effect, that if there was remaining money, it was to roll back into the general fund or wherever. It's always been approval of a match without that designation that you're
Only-
talking about.
Only to the match.
Right.
Only to the match is what we approve.
It's a dollar
Only
amount.
To the match.
All right, any other discussion about this? Okay, all in
Did you have
favor?
a que- Did you have a question, sir?
No, I just was, I found it in the packet. It's about 2/3 of the way through. The left-hand page has measuring success at the top, and the right-hand page has appropriation request.
Okay, so that is the business. Okay, what is your question?
I just was saying where
Oh,
I
yeah.
had found it, if anybody wanted to look at it in what you gave us.
That's great.
And to clarify, to hire a manager for the open for business part, not for Main Street.
No, I'm not, I'm saying that some of that money may go to help hire a consultant for some of this
A
extra work. We still have to hire a person to manage.
They're
our
two separate
actual-
things,
Yeah,
though.
they're two separate projects. This would not be an ongoing hire. If we did hire somebody, it would be specific to this and move. And I'm not saying we're gonna hire and bring on full-time staff. I'm saying is that might be a potential use of some of these funds is to bring on a professional consultant to make sure that everything is top notch.
I understand.
Okay.
Define open for business, because that's what you said you would use it for. I'm not sure what that is,
Well, that's just what we've internally called the project is the Open for Business Plan,
which is what?
which is us helping, hopefully keeping the businesses that we do have with retention measures. And maybe that includes some type of educational sessions or whatnot, which also might require some of the funds to be used as. And then we want to be able to recruit. We feel like we're coming to a critical need of filling some of these empty storefronts. And some of them have been here a long time. And so how do we help? How can we work with the property owners? And maybe it's something that Main Street can do, but maybe there is something that we can do. And what does that look like? So and town council's already done a lot to really help with business recruitment under Matt, who had suggested that they do away with the gross sales tax receipt requirement for the business licenses. And then they don't pay any money on their business property in town. So it's already kind of a very welcoming scenario, as Matt, I think, points out it in his stuff as well. But so that's one way to help. How do we help get businesses here? How do we help work with the landlords? Are there other things that they need to help maybe reduce a rent over a certain amount of time to help get the right business in? You know, what can we do to help facilitate these conversations? Because Onancock is a very special place, and especially with all these new developments in and outside of town, we are going to have the people to support businesses. So we are at a really interesting point in the town's lifespan, I guess, that we've got an opportunity on the horizon for people to support these new businesses. And that's another nice selling point. Like, you know, yes, the town's 1,200 people, but look at our community, surrounding communities and the growth that's happening out there as well.
Okay. All right, any, call for the vote, someone? Yeah, okay, all in favor, any other questions about this? All in favor, so, let's call a roll, I guess, yes.
Repeat the motion, please.
I move that we agree to reallocate the funds already
Could you
approved
put the
for the
dollar amount?
matching grant.
You're
To
gonna,
the, I'm at $15,750.
Yeah.
Was that enough?
Yeah.
Did
Yeah,
you get that?
was-
Yes,
can you call the roll on that?
Councilmember Figgy,
Aye.
Councilmember Grubb,
Well, I didn't vote on this last year. I mean, I don't feel, am I obligated to vote on this now?
No, you can abstain. if-
I'm just hearing about this now. so
Okay,
I feel
okay.
like I need-
So you're gonna abstain, I take? Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Holdren,
Aye.
Councilmember Marino,
Aye.
Councilmember Knock, Councilmember Oswald.
Carries. What?
Okay, motion carries.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Council action, we have three items to take care of tonight. The first one is to appoint commissioners to the town's planning commission. We have, the planning commission is authorized 7 members. We have currently only one member on the commission. So this is, she's out, are you out here today? Yeah, yeah, okay, see you, yeah. So we need to get a planning commission. So we have 4 people that have applied to be on the planning commission. And
5.
No, Kendra's for the EDA.
EDA.
Kendra's-
There's 5 without Kendra.
Is
5 are you seeing? I'm not talking about the council member.
I'm not either. Only
It's-
Kendra.
I've only got Jeff Adler, John Labadie, Jim McGowan, and Paul Wetzel.
Yep.
Dana's not a resident.
We are going to discuss that.
She's
Those are the
not-
ones that have
She's
applied.
going to reapply when she, yeah,
Mr. Mayor, I checked in the Virginia code.
Yeah.
We have our bylaws.
right.
So our bylaws say 7, right?
Yes. Yes.
But wouldn't Virginia code take precedent over our bylaws?
No,
Yes.
Yes.
I don't understand what you're saying here. What we had.
Okay, let me read the code to you,
Yeah.
and then maybe it'll be clarified.
Do you have the number of it? too?
Yes, section 15.2-2212, which is qualifications, appointment, removal, terms, so on and so on. A local planning commission shall consist of not less than 5 nor more than 15 members appointed by the governing body. That's us. All of whom shall be residents of the locality, qualified by knowledge and experience to make decisions on questions of community growth and development. That's a high bar. And provided that at least 1/2 of the members so appointed shall be owners of real property. The local governing body may require each member of the commission to take an oath of office. So that led me to what is a resident? So I went back to the code. Section 10-110-30 with definitions for planning commissions.
0-30. Okay.
So it's saying, a resident generally is for purposes of determining the income tax liability of an individual. The term resident includes any individual domiciled in this Commonwealth, any individual who is not domiciled in this Commonwealth, but who maintains a place of abode is an actual resident in Virginia for more than 183 days during the taxable year.
But I don't think that means that they're,
Let me finish. So
they
there's
still have to be in
more.
the locality.
There's
Is there
more, because now you come to an actual resident, which they refer to in
Okay.
that paragraph. An individual may be an actual resident as defined in subdivision 1 of this subsection, even though he retains his legal domicile elsewhere. The term actual resident does not include members of the, that's not so there you have it.
Much as I appreciate your research skills, I think we would need an actual legal opinion before we appoint someone.
Document.
Ever should have an attorney. is my point.
It's a legal document. Who's going to question?
You are not an attorney and hence not qualified. to
I
give a
am
legal
not an
opinion.
attorney.
Attorney may to turn around and do what you ask him to do, but.
I'm just
the
suggesting we
legal
defer
document
that
is-
one until we can get an.
Well, we
attorney's
didn't
opinion.
put Jeff, we asked him to leave the EDA because he wasn't a resident. According to your
Yeah.
definition, he is a
According to my
resident.
definition, he should still be there.
I talked to
That's
attorney
not what-
several times about that. They said
No.
no.
You talk to the.
Our
attorney.
town attorney, yeah, he's a
You
resident
might
in
wanna
Florida.
refer him to these
He's
codes.
well aware of that. Yeah, okay.
I'm just saying, these are the
I thought-
codes
I-
that we might want to consider.
Yes,
I'm not
I understand
arguing
what you're
one way
saying.
or
I
the
think we
other.
need to get a clearer picture of that. I don't want to be embarrassed and point somebody that isn't, that they're not legal. Yeah, well,
My, my only
They're just gonna put.
sidebar on this, and whatever the council, our legal counsel says is fine. If they're not a resident of the town, a legal resident of the town and can vote in the town and don't have all their vehicles in town to be taxed in the town, should they be sitting on a committee that's gonna potentially tell us how to spend our money?
Well, that's a personal decision, yeah.
To the town.
Yeah.
That's not what the email said. That's not what the email said.
It's,
Let's have a motion for the, somebody can make a motion to. appoint
I
whoever you
move-
want.
I move that we place on the town's planning commission the applicants whose information is in the packet.
You need to read their names out.
I'm getting ready to.
Thank you.
Namely, starting on page 14, Jeff Adler. Page 16, John Labadie. Page 17, Jim McGowan. And page 18, Paul Weitzel.
Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Did you get that? Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Wait. I was not an opposed.
Okay,
I was-
okay, thank you. All right.
We still have an opening too. We still have an opening on the planning
there's still a-
commission, which we could still,
Yeah,
yeah.
that still leaves one opening.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and we can,
It's just gonna be a matter of time and that person should be the one considered.
yes, okay,
Well,
yeah, all right. Okay, appoint a member to the Nancock Economic Development Authority. We have 2 vacancies on the Economic Development Authority. We only have one applicant, Kendra Stearns. I think she's here out here. Yep, she's out here.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Kendra Stearns to the EDA of Anacog.
Do we have a second on that?
I'll second it.
Discussion?
Yes, if you look on page 19 of her application, she says relocating for most of the year to an Ancock. Okay, thank you.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Okay. Congratulations, Kendra, and the new people of the Planning Commission. Yeah, thank you. When is the next Planning Commission meeting while you're still here?
It's on the 3rd.
The 3rd of February, right, coming up. Huh? All right. Okay, next item is assign council members to committees. The first one is we need a member from the council to go on the Planning Commission. Do we have a motion to that effect?
I'd like to nominate Cindy Holdren.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor of Cindy?
How do you feel about that?
She's asked to do that.
She wants it.
I requested it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Personnel Committee, as far as I know, I'm the only member on the Personnel Committee. Is that correct, Matt? You and I?
Yes.
Yeah, we have, Cindy, anybody want to be on the Personnel Committee?
Lisa, why don't you do that?
I'd be happy to take.
I
that
nominate Lisa Figgy.
Uh,
Second it.
I just
Second.
want to make make note of the fact that she was an employee for
Yeah.
8 years and that may cause a conflict of interest.
Noted.
So,
I don't think so.
so you're saying that
I-
Lisa,
I'm going to check with the same attorneys you are.
I don't think it's, okay, but, discussion on that? Yeah,
yes.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then the Water and Sewer Committee, are you still?
Yeah,
on that?
I'm still on there.
And I'm on, so we're still on
Unless
that. We're
somebody else is dying to be on
we're
water.
at full strength on that,
No, you
correct?
guys rock. You're great.
Okay, thank you. All right. Matt?
Pardon me?
Yeah.
You guys are awesome.
Okay, I think that takes care of our committees for the next year, correct? Yes. Okay. Council discussion, there is none scheduled. Committee reports, Economic Development Authority, we don't have anybody, they didn't meet, did they?
No, we haven't met since Joy gave
that's
the
right.
report in
Yes, of
December.
course, yeah. Community reports, Nancock Main Street, I don't think you need to make a report, no, okay. Historic Nancock School, Sarah?
Yes. It was a busy time. The last couple of weeks have been especially busy on the hill behind the school with people sledding. I drove by one day last week and saw a bunch of kids grinning, putting their sleds back in the back of their car. Okay. The Artisans Market in December was very well attended. There were 12 vendors with a variety of things, both indoors and outdoors, as well as the resident artists. More than 200 people are estimated to have attended. The Instagram, back to the sledding, Instagram has an aerial video of the sledders. I need to check that out. Upgrades to the electrical system are continuing, including installing additional circuits to allow secondary heat in case the boiler fails and to have backup to protect the water pipes. As of today, so far, the boiler is still working. We all keep our fingers and toes and everything else crossed. The search for executive director continues. Moving into the new year, Joni is remaining until there is somebody and during a transition. And let me preface what was said a minute ago, that after I finish, we're going to present Destiny, who is the new assistant working at the school. So just so everybody recognizes her and is able to know who she is and that she's there.
Just one. You stand up, so, yeah, thank you.
That's me.
It's
Jennings. The board of the school has made some changes. There are 7 new board members as well as some rotations of older ones, previous ones, I should say. We like to recognize the past president, Cindy Downing, for her invaluable contribution to Friends of the Nancock School as a founding member and longtime board member. She has stepped down as president, and Carrie Baird is the new president. Margie Labadie is the new vice president. And then now turning to other future things, the first Wine Wednesday will be next Wednesday, February 5th, with a special Valentine's Day theme. There'll be a selfie station, other surprises. We hope everybody can come. The Field Day Fiesta is looking ahead to the first Saturday of May, and the Blooms and Brushes will be at the end of May, garden and outdoor painting. And Pavilion is continuing. Fletcher, is this the time to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We understand that the attempt to get a more extensive, the attempt to get the extremely extensive building report was not successful. The people we had approached were not able to take that work on. So at the December meeting, we stepped back the request to what Matt had talked with companies about previously, and that still didn't get any takers. So we're now in a position of what needs to happen with the roof and the heat, and what are the other things to tackle first. There's bid information for the roof from 3 years ago that I think we need to pursue refreshing, and then also for the heat and air conditioning, to be sure to see if we can get an additional bid for that, and then continue to pursue means for funding both of those projects.
Can I ask a question, Sarah?
Yes.
When you're talking about HVAC, what sort of system has been discussed?
Mini splits.
My understanding from our previous discussions was that their lifespan was shorter than the USDA loan system would allow, that it would not last the 20 years.
Which means that such loan would be for a shorter term.
Yeah, the loan would have to be a different agreement. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think the windows and the roof would easily qualify for yeah. But I think the question is right now, what more information does council need in terms of, we had a motion from Joy to get a full sketch. We were unable to get that from the 3 companies. So your suggestion is that they go out and get bids to submit, let Matt take a look at them as well, get additional bids. And I guess if somebody's going to come and look at the roof, they're going to have some structural, some credibility about whether that building, what kind of roof it needs. Yeah. So I know they had 1 bid, but I think they probably should get another one.
At least 2 more.
Yeah, I think don't you have a list of people? Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I have a question.
Yeah.
I know mini splits is probably the least expensive of the choices. Is that exactly what you want? Is that exactly what we need? Should we be looking at something more substantial for longevity? I don't know. That's why I'm asking. I don't know enough about it. That's why I'm just I don't know what any of the potential.
Well, I mean, I think you could approach some company to give you a different system. We haven't, done that. The only bid they have is on a mini split system, correct? You have two separate bids for that. So, I mean, there's nothing that says you can't get another company to come in and look at a different system, whether we don't know what it's going to cost, but I think it's worth exploring. Yeah.
I
If we're gonna
think,
do it, I'd like to do it right.
Well, the
yeah,
question is,
yeah.
how
I
do you?
think one of the reasons for the mini split,
Okay.
besides cost, was the flexibility that it would give to be able to
Dependence.
manage each space separately instead of having to
Gotcha.
heat the whole thing and also to be able to cool it because there's not currently air conditioning.
No, I think I think you have a good idea, and I don't think I don't think we need it. We can get a company that you can get somebody to give you a different bid, right? But
I think before we start talking about what we're going to do, we need to talk about how we're going to do it. And the first step in that would be to speak to the town attorney, because he's told us we cannot borrow the money with the school.
we're not doing that. We're not talking about funding anything right now.
Well, why are we talking about what we're going to buy if we're not talking about?
Well, they're talking about
funding?
getting bids to present to us, but we know that they're not borrowing the money. We're borrowing the money. That's not a question. We know they're never intended to borrow the money.
That's what I'm saying. We should have the town attorney rule.
We know, they're not asking to borrow money. We know that
I
we
know
have
that.
to.
I know that.
Yeah.
How is it being funded?
With that's going to be,
Yeah, but
we have to find out how much
if it's not a
I
loan,
think
who
that
signs a loan?
I
we
think
do.
the town-
We have to sign the loan.
I think the
Okay.
town attorney needs to look at the lease and decide if the town can borrow the funds to do this. That's all.
they've already agreed on it. That's no problem doing
I've
that.
never seen that.
Is there any problem with that, Matt?
I've never seen it.
No, he said we couldn't form a partnership between the
Right.
two organizations. He
We
didn't,
own the building.
we own the building and we can
We can
do,
borrow money and do whatever we want on our building. Yeah.
yes.
With attorney approval.
Oh, no, obviously, yeah, okay.
That's not necessary, but you're right.
No.
We have to agree that we're going to borrow the money to put funds in
Yeah.
that building that they said that they were going to pay for by themselves.
Well,
Okay.
Well,
That's all.
we need to get some kind of idea about what we need to do on the building. That was the first thing the engineering to study. We need to know what we need to do and what it's going to cost before we're trying to find out how to finance it. So let's find out what it's going to cost and what the options are first. Then we come back and have the discussion about how we pay for it, correct? Yeah, we have, yeah,
That's a challenge though,
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor,
okay.
because we've sought so many quotes at this point, they're becoming free consultation. And a lot of the contractors are saying, well, you're not gonna do it anyway, so why would I go take my time to
Well,
give you this information?
I'm not sure I don't know. Let's try it. What options do
I'm
we have?
happy to try, I'm
not asking
just-
you to get, I mean, they can do, yeah, I'm asking you to look at them, but they're going to go ahead and try to find them. Yeah, I'm not asking you to do that. Yeah.
I appreciate that,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah, because I know there's some company there, we had a list of 7 roofing companies. They only talked to one. So there's a lot of other companies out there for roofing, I know.
Mhm.
I don't know about air conditioning. We have exhausted some of the local people, but yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
yeah.
Could we place this on the agenda? Sarah brought it up in her community report. I think it needs to go on a future agenda.
Well, I don't
and We
think,
discuss it.
we're not asking the council to do anything now. We're asking
Good.
them to get some bids. If they want to do that, that's up to you all. We're not asking the council to do anything. So I'm just, unless the council wants to proceed with another type of engineering study. Yeah. Okay. So I think so, yeah. All right. So are we agreed that I'm not asking you all to do anything right now. Just to let them get some bids and then you can decide what you want to do at the next meeting.
We're trying to find the best way to get the closest approximation to the information that was requested, since the exact information that was requested,
What?
the report that you asked for,
Yes,
the report that we've tried to get is not possible to get.
we have many of those reports, though. The latest one from Becker Morgan.
We're,
Yes.
They don't want to give us another one. Yeah. Yeah.
we're not able to get an updated version of that. either didn't reply or replied that they're not able to take on the work.
The update tell you anything more than what they've already told you?
I'm not-
Absolutely.
It would
nothing.
reflect the work that has been done in the meantime. Given that, I'm trying to make suggestions of ways that the closest approximation to that detailed engineering report that you requested that we can get hold of and be able to make decisions based on.
Okay.
Can you help me understand what the questions are so I can try to answer more appropriately?
we're not asking the council to do anything right now. Yeah,
No.
we're leaving it up to the school to come up to, hopefully to come up with some other bids and see how that works for them between now and the next council meeting. And then,
I think we should just table this discussion at this point and move on.
Yeah.
And put it on the agenda.
yeah, we are. Yeah, but like I said, you guys, it's up to you all to do that. Yeah, okay, thank you. All right, well, thank you for your report. Any other questions about the school? Okay, public comment? Rosemary? I'm sorry? Oh, she was going to talk? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were just introducing her. I'm sorry. I'm totally, I'm sorry. I thought we were okay, thank you. Sarah.
I want to make sure everything's good with the mic. Good levels. Everyone can hear me? Oh, no. Okay. Is it not? It's on.
It's on.
Okay. I'll try to speak louder. Okay. Mayor, town manager, other council members, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to formally introduce myself to a community that has been incredibly welcoming to me. My name is Destiny Jennings, as you've heard, and though I'm originally from Shadyside, Maryland, Onancock has quickly become a second home to me. I moved here a few months ago to live with my fiance, Jacob. Say hi, Jacob. We live on Market Street and are incredibly grateful to be starting our lives together in a friendly, charming town that has so much to offer its community. A part of starting my life here is working at Historic Onancock School as the administrative assistant, which you've heard. In this position, I've been able to meet many people in this town and create wonderful relationships. The culture of Onancock has been exciting to explore, and supporting local businesses has been an absolute pleasure. Before moving here, I graduated from University of Maryland, Baltimore County, in which I earned my bachelor's degree in social work. Therefore, it goes without saying that one of my life's greatest passions is helping others. While receiving my education, I balanced internships with working at a homeless prevention support center and shelter in Annapolis. There, I learned the importance of simple acts of kindness and true empathy for others. Although I've had a variety of internships, the most impactful was working at a nursing home. Very quickly, I learned the value of preserving history. Without the very human act of passing down our stories and our history, the future generations lose the guide of all who came before us that they worked so hard to build. It is my intention and my hope to use these lessons and experiences at Historic Onancock School and as a new member of this beautiful town. If I haven't met you yet, I look forward to meeting you. And for those I have met, thank you for sharing your wonderful town with me. I am truly proud to say that I live in Onancock, and I look forward to my future here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Rosemary, let's try that again.
I'm Rosemary Popero, and I live in the town of Onancock, as I think you all know. Notwithstanding the water supply issues these past few days, I do want to address the motion made at a recent town meeting that the town take out a $542,000 loan at 4% for 40 years to fund the cost of new windows, an electric upgrade, and installation of a heat pump system, also known as a split system at the HOS. Obviously, the town or the FOS has not yet retained a full-service architectural or engineering firm to assess the entire school facility. That engineering study should include mechanical, electrical, plumbing, as well as the building envelope, which is the masonry, roof, and windows. Such studies, although they come at a cost, are an essential for prudent planning. The council and the mayor have a fiduciary responsibility to all the residents and taxpayers in the town. The proposed loan, which would run until 2065, will come at a total cost of $1,087,308.80. During that 40-year span, the heat pump units and the interior air handlers for those units would have to be replaced at least 2 or 3 times, and the windows would be at the end of their useful life. How do I know that? I have 50 years experience in Manhattan on gut rehabs, new construction, and maintaining existing buildings. We have already been told at a number of town meetings that the school roof is at the end of its useful life. So would that trigger another loan? I don't know. The council would be burdening future residents and taxpayers with useless debt, and that is a travesty. 2 further considerations. The cost of electricity to run the split systems will be substantially greater than an oil or propane system. Although electric systems are better for the environment, I think we can all agree to that. Operational costs to the FOS will increase by approximately 40%, which may be difficult to cover on their lean budget. Although the FOS has said that it will pay half the debt on the loan, however, that is not assured, as the FOS still cannot afford the property insurance on the school, which it is required to pay under its lease with the town. It's repeatedly been said that the town should pay the property insurance as the town is the school, as the school is town property. But that's a specious argument at best, because the lease is very clear, it's very explicit that it is the FOS's obligation. I would like these comments just added to the records of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, may I make a comment?
No, not a
Just-
public comment. No, thank you. We don't comment on public comment.
Well, it's not a public
No,
comment.
at the
on
end, you can,
public
well, you can
comment.
at your time when you come up. Yeah, thank you. Casey? Where?
I was going to ask about Casey Greer, 74 Market Street. I was going to ask about 2 of my favorite issues, sidewalks. And since we've really had a problem, right, without having decent sidewalks, of course, nobody was shoveling their snow either. But with the issue of sidewalks, I think is emerging yet again. And I know they're expensive, but I really think that some kind of planning needs to go on for improving sidewalks, including sidewalks in the Northeast neighborhood. But that aside, I also wanted to ask about annexation, but I'm going to hold that off for the planning commission meeting. But one of the things that struck me about the presentation from Onancock Main Street was that the Economic Development Authority was not among the list of partners mentioned. That's nuts. You know, and one of the problems is that the way that that Main Street's boundaries are defined is it leaves out an enormous chunk of the town because it only includes what is regarded as the historic district. Thus, it leaves out an enormous chunk of the town and a second business district. And what strikes me about this is that Main Street, the Economic Development Authority, and the Planning Commission ought to be working together on figuring out what the economic future of Onancock looks like, rather than have these units sort of moving ahead and creating these plans for attracting businesses without consulting with the government appointed commissions that are responsible for this. This reflects, I think, a problem that we've seen repeatedly in the town, which is groups not talking to each other and sort of running around on their wheels, you know, going like crazy. but not consulting with each other. And I think the argument can be made that we need to periodically schedule some kind of meeting that includes the Planning Commission, the Economic Development Authority, and Main Street. Because it is the EDA that's going to address the outer business district and the needs of a good proportion of Onancock citizens. I also want to say, just as one final thing, that the discussion about the 26,000 square feet of dining needed, all I kept thinking about is why nobody wanted food trucks. So I don't know. Any rate, I think it will require a little more creative thought about what kind of dining we're talking about, because I can't imagine that many of quite a number of the visitors we're going to attract are going to want to spend the bucks that are required at a number of our fine restaurants. So thank you.
Marjorie?
Margie Labadie, 24 Kerr Street. This is an invitation from the Friends of Onancock School Board of Directors to the Onancock Town Council. The Board of Directors of the Friends of Onancock School understands that the Onancock Town Council is still deciding how it wants to move forward with major repairs at the historic Onancock School, and that it is crucial to do this with as much information as possible. These repairs are critical to the success of the historic Onancock School Community and Culture Center. So I have several questions for town council members, if you don't mind me asking. And a show of hands is fine if you wish. I know you don't have to. How many of you have walked through both floors of the historic Onancock School in the last year? How many of you?
Are we voting?
No.
She's just asking for a show.
Not vote. How many of you have stepped inside each artist, studio, business, nonprofit, and club? How many of you have been inside the boiler and mechanical rooms? How many of you have stood in front of the pavilion? How many of you have walked to the playground or hiked our nature trail or rested on the creek observation deck? That's nice. If you have not raised your hand or answered no to any of these questions, then the Friends of the School Board of Directors would like to invite you for a comprehensive tour, either as a group or individually, to see our facilities. We give these kinds of tours daily to visitors, although not the boiler and the mechanics room, but that's one of the things that Destiny does now. She gives tours. And we're pretty proud of what we have to offer at Historic Onancock School. Please contact Destiny Jennings or Joni. You have our phone number, but I've submitted it to the town with this thing to schedule a tour or stop in during any regular business hours. And we would love to see you and give you that tour. Thank you very much. Margie Labadie, Vice President, FOS.
Thank you. Priscilla?
Good evening. Can you hear me? Priscilla Hart, 21 Market Street. Thank you to Matt and the folks who fixed our water. It was a dreadful job climbing into the creek to do it. It's unfortunate that the pipe broke, and I am wondering if there is some ARPA money floating around somewhere that isn't allocated, or we're talking about $15,000 somewhere that's loose. Perhaps some of that could be used to take a look at our infrastructure and decide what kinds of things we need to do or could do so that, you know, if a pipe is rusting, maybe you could see it. Of course, it's under a bridge, but there must be others. So thank you for all of that work. It's appreciated. Do you know when we'll have test results? A water test. So is the tank refilled already?
Good. Actually, it was refilled by.
Okay, good. So we'll have 2 test results. Thank you. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next thing. We talked earlier about the Main Street lease. And there were changes made to the lease. One was number 10 and the other was 17E. And this was around subletting parts of the property. So were the changes made and is the lease public information? Has anybody seen it and read it and where is it?
No, it's public. Talk to Matt after the meeting. We'll get you the lease.
So if the changes were made?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Appreciate it. Would you email it to me? Thank you. Okay. That was that. And I do have a couple more seconds. I want to talk about Main Street. Before I do that, thank you, Rosemary, for your very precise information on what could happen with the school and things that should be investigated. And thank you, Marge, for inviting the town council to come. And could I come too? Thank you. All right, I'll come some other time, but thank you. Of course. All right, so Main Street's presentation was very nice. I am encouraged to hear that there's more of an emphasis on residents. I do think that Onancock is a nice place to visit, but it's a great place to live. And we need to emphasize that more than anything. People say we're very friendly here, and that's because I like it here. It's nice. So if you could put more emphasis on that, it would certainly be appreciated.
Yeah, time's up.
I'm done.
You're done. 2.5 minutes. Thank you.
You're watching
3.
fast.
That's not my watch. Thank you. Who we got? Glenn Smith.
Glenn Smith, 12 Market Street. I'd also like to thank our town employees for what they've done with the broken water lines and clearing of the streets for the snow. It's a thankless job doing those jobs, so thank you.
Thank you.
Last month when I spoke about filling the vacancies on our police force, I think Matt said that you would need to hire 4 police officers to cover every shift so that we have a police officer working every shift. Couple things I'd like to mention about that is that I believe the town of Accomack is looking to get police coverage. We might want to look into regionalization with them, or maybe even regionalization with them and the town of Olney, because they were looking at hiring another officer also. I'll say this again, if we have open shifts where there's no police officers working, we need to fill those positions. Just Saturday night, again, cars were broken into on Ames Street. I don't know if any police officers were working or not, but cars were broken in again. So the problem's not going away. Even the cold weather isn't scaring away the car burners. And one other thing, when I was union president for the firefighters union, the township manager told me when we were short 12 firemen that it's not necessarily cost effective to fill all those positions because overtime is cheaper than hiring employees and keeping employees on the books. So that might be something we might want to look into, that instead of needing 8, maybe we only need 6 with overtime. That'll also increase the wages of our existing officers and bring them up, making more than what the county sheriff's officers make and prevent them from leaving here after they're trained. It's just some things that, should be looked into. And again, cameras are great, but they can't get out there and arrest people. Traffic issues. I mean, the Lilliston building has been occupied, what, 2 months now? And already people are parking the wrong way on the others in front of the Lilliston building. That is the worst intersection in town that people could park the wrong way. So, and they sat there. That car sat there for hours with no ticket, no nothing. This was last week. So if one's gonna do it, more are gonna do it. So, you know, we're talking about bringing more people into town.
Thank,
Okay.
thank you.
Glenn, one quick thing. We do have reciprocal agreements with the sheriff and with Only, so I'm just letting you know.
I understand that.
Okay.
Thank you. Last but not least, Paul Wetzel. Okay, anybody else that didn't sign up? Okay.
Over here.
Joy Custis sent an email.
Yes.
Did she ask you to read it out?
No.
She
Okay.
asked us to
She-
address it.
She said,
We don't normally read them out unless they requested.
I
Well,
think her questions need
I thi-
answers.
I think we need to
But
discuss
before
it.
Well,
we
let's
have
do that at the-
somebody
at-
here that wanted to comment.
Let's
Okay.
wait for the manager
Right here.
minutes first. Yeah, oh, and, oh, hey, Jeff, I didn't see you back there.
Short, I'm Jeff Barrett on North Street. And I was somewhat taken back by this water tower thing. And I would like to know if anybody could tell me, if we're gonna have blackouts, electrical blackouts. We've had them before and we could have extensive electrical blackouts in the future. Now, I assume that the water, we have a gravity fed system, so the water comes down whether we have a blackout or not, but eventually the water goes down. And we don't have any water there anymore. Now, I assume we get the water pumped up by electric pumps. And my question is if the blackout is there, do you have a backup generator that's gasoline powered?
Yeah.
Get the water backup.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
it's diesel powered actually.
Yes,
but-
yes, yes. Thank you. Any other public comment? Yeah, all right. Okay, thank you. Mayor's report, I don't have much. There again, I'd like to thank Terry, Victor, Derek, Matt on the water thing. I was somewhat a little bit involved in that, and those guys were under that bridge at, I was actually down there watching them, and great job. I know that pipe was, old pipe. Matt can probably talk about that later, but pipe was supposed to have been put out of service. We bored a new pipe under the bridge. That pipe wasn't even supposed to be carrying any water. And what 10 or 15 years ago, we bored that new line. So that thing was supposed to be cut off, and obviously it wasn't, but we're not really sure why, but that was a long time ago. So we fixed the problem, and Matt can probably give you some more answers. And I think council has some other questions. Let's see, the other thing is council is we're talking about, we've been back and forth about when we allow public comment. And so I'm kind of trying to come up with a plan for, when we allow public comment. And I think, as you remember, the previous mayor used to allow comment on when we were going to vote on something, if we had an action item. So at that time, we would have, if we were going to vote on something, we allow people to make comments on that. And then we had a time later in the meeting when people could make general comments that didn't have anything to do with that. Because if we vote on something at the first part of the meeting and then we have public comment at the end, if you didn't know about, what good is it? So my plan is if we have an action item, if we're going to, do something involving funding or start, something, we have to have public hearings, but this is beyond public hearings. So my plan is, and with council approval, we'll put a public comment time at each council action in the future, and then allow public comment on things that didn't involve that later on in the meeting. Is that okay with you guys? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we used to do that. This is not a brand new thing. So there again, thanks. I got a good picture of those guys working on the bridge. If anybody wants to see that, it's quite it was a mess under there. All right. Matt, town manager's report.
Yeah, let me walk through the things that I normally pop through quickly, and then I'll talk to the water issue.
Thank you.
First are the financial reports. The financial reports, we're exactly halfway through the year. If you look at the percentage of budgeted revenue so far this year, we're at 88%. I'm sorry if I'm reading wrong. My other glasses are in home. So the total expenditures are 43%. So which means basically we're halfway through the year. We've got 88% of our annual budgeted income, but only 43% of our budgeted expenses. So we're in really good, stable shape right now, halfway through the year. There aren't any anomalies that we should be dealing with. There's nothing that I didn't know was coming. there's nothing that I think is going to cause an anomalous expense down the road. One thing I want to talk about is the ARPA monies. If you look at page 35, that shows the approved ARPA projects that we've worked with for 3 years now, it seems. We've now, as of December 30th, encumbered every dollar that the federal government has seen fit to give us. So we've encumbered or spent 1,256,432. Now, encumbering means that we have set aside that money in a contractual form so that the project that's on this list will get done. So there's not going to be any changes to what's happening. There's no reappropriations unless you guys decide to do it. But at this point, purchase orders have been signed and everything has been honored and moved forward. So we are exactly in balance, and everything that is remaining to spend is actually underway.
I had a quick question about that, Matt.
Yeah.
Just nomenclature. The downtown visual improvements, is that what the welcome signs now coming out of?
That's part of it. The two
Okay.
combined, the 83,000 plus the 53,000, those two combined are the welcome sign, the town square, they're not baskets. Some people call them baskets. Waste
Planters
baskets
or
and
the
the recycle bins and benches and things like that.
Okay, so they're actually going to be combined in
Yes,
general town beautification.
it will be gorgeous,
There we
yes.
go.
The next page that I probably spend more time on than anything is making sure that our cash position and our future cash reserves are solid and well managed. At this point, we are 23% up cash year over year. We have $4.69 million in the bank without any ARPA consideration, whereas last year, same period, we had 3.8 million. One point of note is that at the end of our audit cycle, we end up getting new accumulated depreciation numbers. That means that an asset that we purchase is only good for a certain amount of time, and we write that asset off over that time. That accumulated amount that we write off is called accumulated depreciation. Our reserve for the utility requires us to reserve a portion of the accumulated depreciation. The theory behind that being when I don't want to jinx this, but hopefully when the tower falls down.
Heaven forbid, let
Thank
the
you.
record show.
Thank you.
Not gonna put it over here.
We've had enough savings year over year over year over year to replace that without debt. So that's the purpose of our reserve, is that we're planning for something that we know is going to happen, not fall down, but it's going to need to be replaced. So that's the purpose of these reserves. So you can see that our reserve for utilities went up from $744,000 up to 1.1 million. And that's just simply because the accumulated depreciation rise, and therefore we needed to have more cash in the bank. And because we're managing the way that we are, we have the money in the bank, and we're 23% year over year up cash position. So I'm very, very pleased with the way the financial statements look, as well as what our cash position is.
Hey, Matt,
Yeah,
are you planning on transferring any of this 800,000 over into the investment account? That's it in the checking?
yeah. Well, yes, I am. I normally sweep at 300,000.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Could I ask a question about, could you point me to where the visitor center is in the budget or in the financial report? Is that in here?
You mean where we're
Our
getting the money for
expenditures for that.
chairs and things like that? That's things like office supplies and monies like that. I mean,
So
we've
spread
bought,
throughout
yeah, we've bought chairs. We've bought, you know,
the racks. I
off,
didn't see
the
you were buying
racks
those.
were $99. So yeah, we're spreading it throughout the budget where it makes sense to fit. Let me run through my manager's report quickly, the written one. As I mentioned, all ARPA funds have been encumbered, and we're excited to have the rest of these projects show up. All our street signs are going to show up. All of our, the town square, streetlights are going to show up, but it's really going to start to be, I'm going to say resident facing, because a lot of the things that we've done so far have been sort of invisible. These are really out front. I'm going to skip that. One thing I do want to say, and it was already mentioned earlier, was that I have a pre-con meeting with, or that's a pre-construction meeting with HRSD regarding our replacement of our water meters. Somebody's going to ask, and I don't remember the name of the vendor. I apologize. But we've gone to bid. The bid's been awarded. At this point, it's just simply lead time of the meters themselves, and then the project will start. So that's an exciting part of it. Business licenses went out. I'm sure that anybody that owns the business was excited to receive that little love note in the mail. But one of the things that I'd like to remind people is that the town council made a concerted effort to make Anacog one of the least expensive places to do business in the shore or on the shore. So we removed the gross receipts portion of the business license, and we also removed the personal property taxes for businesses, under the belief that we don't tax people to do the job they're paid to do. And by making it less expensive to do business here, it would be easier to attract businesses. So with that, the last 3 pages, I think there are 3, maybe there are more. That's Chief's sort of annual report. It's very colorful. It's also very easy to read. It gives you a good sense of what's happening. And next month is his month to sit with us. So we'll see him then. So let's talk a little bit about
I have a
water.
Question about.
Yeah.
The chief's report, we have 2019 and it skips to 2024.
The current year's in the middle. He's showing you. I looked at that too.
Yeah, it's just,
The current year's in blue, isn't it?
Yeah.
yeah,
What happened to 20, 21, 20? He's not showing us that.
no, it's just a trend over.
Oh, okay.
2 years.
I would imagine that he didn't have the data that
Oh,
that was
okay. All right.
meaningful.
Thank you. Okay.
So the water last week, sorry. Go ahead.
I had a question about another part of your report.
Okay,
Would you
go
rather
ahead.
Do that first?
No, whatever works for you.
It's also about water, but I'm guessing that the Liberty Street project.
I was going to start with that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we have 4 water projects. 3 of them were unplanned, 1 of them is planned. Okay. The King Street leak that happened last week out in front of the Brockmeyer house. What happened there was a plow hit the valve. You know, when you go through the streets and you see those little 8-inch circle metal manhole covers or person hole covers, and they sit up just a little bit. Well, a plow hit that, and 7 feet down under the ground, it jiggled the T that it was attached to. That T was attached to an 8-inch water line. And I don't know if you've ever seen an 8-inch water line really go, but it is powerful. So we had to not only dig it out, we had to have 2 different pumps running at the same time because it couldn't keep up with the amount of water that was being pushed out of that thing. And then, you know, obviously we had to repair it, fill it and everything else. And if anybody remembers how cold it was, you know, it was absolutely brutal. By the end of the day, we had that covered and fixed, and by the next day, it was cleaned up. And then there was some sand residue that we removed a few days later after that. So that was unplanned number one. Unplanned number two hasn't been finished yet. It's on Hartman Avenue. The reason it's not finished yet is if you remember when HRSD put in that pump station way in the back of Hartman. Okay, it's a beautiful facility. The leak is directly in the front yard of somebody that goes right alongside that channel. So that's going to be a multi-agency repair. So even though it looks just like this little bird bath that's on the side of the road and there's flags sticking up all over it, yeah, that's what that is. So that one we are letting sit until all of these agencies can sit around a table and try to figure out where we can put a shovel and where we can't put a shovel. Okay, so that's unplanned number two. Unplanned number three, we all just lived through. And what happened was, and I'm not going to start with dates and times and all of that type of thing because it just gets too confusing. What happened was we have a panel inside of our tower that sends an alarm when the level of the water goes down below a certain level. We got that alarm early one morning. Okay, so we drove through town. I say we, I was still in bed. They drove through town and easily found that underneath the Ames Street Bridge was what looked like a fire hydrant was broken off and just spraying right into the creek. Is that about right, Mr. Mayor? I mean, it was going, but there were 3 splits in this rusted old pipe. Now, why that pipe was charged, I have absolutely no idea. The water that goes into Mount Prospect is every well-designed system is in a loop. So that means if water goes in, it has a way to come out a different way so that if one way gets blocked, it can turn around and go back the other way. So inside of Mount Prospect, you come up Liberty, and then you loop through that way. You come across Mount Prospect and you loop through that way, and then you come in through under the creek over by Ames and you come in through that way. That way, if one way goes down, we always have water service in Mount Prospect. Make sense? Okay. Why there was water in that pipe, I have absolutely no idea, but there was a lot of water coming out and it was coming straight from the tower. So as hard as we pushed those pumps, it could not keep up with the normal use of our water, which just under, meaningless statistics, we use about 210,000 gallons a day of water in this town. That gallon plus the amount that was coming out, we could not keep up with. So we started working the valves to try to isolate Mount Prospect, to be quite frank with you, so that everybody else would have water service, but Mount Prospect would be left without. And that way we'd be able to keep the level of the tower up, the rest of the town serviced, and that includes the hospital and the dialysis center. So those are really important customers of ours. So we wanted to make sure that they were taken care of. I don't remember whether it was in the 90s when we redid 2/3 of the town with new water line.
Yeah, the water tower, yeah.
Yeah,
And
the
we put
tower.
the line in on Liberty because there was no other. That's a
Right.
New line.
Yeah, so it was back then, some 30 years ago, that project took place. And when it took place, some of the valves in the old system that were part of the ductile iron, cast iron system were reused and repurposed, and some were not, and they were brand new and part of the new system. And nobody wrote that down for us. So we have these maps that show a valve that's not there. And we have maps that show valves that, there are 3 of them. So that's why we look like the Keystone Cops running around town trying to figure out how to turn the water off. So isolating Mount Prospect was a Sisyphean task, which we could not do. So what ended up happening was this 6-inch pipe that's going full bore. Terry and Derek got down on there, cut that, and with the water blowing as hard in their face as they possibly could, put a cap on the thing and reattached it. So that, and trust me when I tell you, the mud is deep and nasty down there. So then the other side, we did not cap because the valve that was not on the map, but is in the street, works just fine. But it's attached to the pipe that shouldn't have water in it.
Is it fixed?
Okay.
Can we just cut
So-
to the chase here?
So
Is it fixed?
the chase is, yes, it is absolutely fixed. The pumps are working fine.
Great.
Our generator is working fine. The water level is fine. The water's been tested already more than once. It's fine. We still are doing the 48-hour, boil it for 1 minute before you consume it. By 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, that'll end. All of that. But that's the story behind the bridge. I know that was long and I'm
No,
sorry, but
it's helpful.
It just some of the things you bump into, you really
So,
can't believe.
so the pipe that wasn't supposed to be an active part of the system is 30 years later, now finally not an active part of the system?
Yeah, but one of the other cute things that I'll say is while we were putting in the fire suppression system for the Lilliston building, so-and-so turned on the valve. And when that happened, my phone rang and one of our residents said, "Oh my God, King Street just blew up."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's what happened in the old ductile cast iron because when they left it sitting there, nobody capped it. They just left it sitting there. So that's what we're dealing with. So the water system in town is second to none. The infrastructure is also second to none. Okay, so my planned water project is that we're required by code to provide water service to any home that's inside the town of Anacog that has reasonable access to it. There are 3 little houses being built on the corner of Liberty and Hill. Right straight across the street, you will see a fire hydrant. That means that there's water available. So we are going to go straight across the street to and put their meters in. Seems like a simple project, but VDOT has regulations like you cannot imagine. So what's holding us up, and I can't even make this up, we have our VDOT permit, we have all their safety instructions, we have all the gravel on site, we have everything that we need, except the brackets that go at the top of the signs, because they sent the sign base without the bracket that holds the sign up. So those, soon as we get those, then you'll see a lot of signs detouring you down College and around Market and uphill.
So that's not, we don't know yet the rescheduled date for that.
Nope.
Okay.
And one other little thing that we don't know that we do know the scheduled date of is shipping. That had to wait because of ice
Everything.
and water and all that. We've gotten more calls about shipping than I'd care to admit. And basically what we're doing is we're skipping the month and we're starting the first full week of February is when we'll do chipping again.
Is any of these unplanned? There. Is any of these unplanned water issues going to affect anybody's water bills? Just wondering.
You know, you and Mary Ellen should have a conversation because she just came up to me and said, don't forget to remind them that the number of days between water readings actually does have an impact on people's water bills. And if it's further because of the snow, you can't see the lid, you can't see the meter, you can't see, okay. So it takes a lot longer. So now that it's 50 degrees out, we're hoping to be able to go out and bang some of these things out. But the bill is going to be more days, which will
For half the
result.
town.
But the
Just
use,
for half the
Yeah.
town at this, unless something catastrophic
next bill will
happens.
be
on
less.
the
Yes,
other
but
side.
no.
but
The
the,
next bill will be less.
the leaks will not cause usage increases for individual
No.
residents.
No, there's
right?
no impact to everything that happened, unplanned 1 through 3 is outside of everyone's meter.
Yeah,
There was absolutely no impact to anybody's meter.
no,
Okay.
nobody was pulling water from the street.
You didn't want any part of that.
Any questions for Matt? Yeah.
Yes.
Are you still talking? I'm sorry. Are you through?
I was hoping.
Yeah. Okay.
You are.
Okay, all right.
I agree with Councilmember Knock that our resident Joy Custis and my neighbor had some questions that she would like some answers to. I'm sure they won't be a problem. Oh, you haven't printed it? I sure do.
I did not, so being unprepared is
I printed it. I'll give you a copy.
I mean, there are a lot of involved questions in there that off the top of your head, I wouldn't trust the answer anyway.
Yeah,
okay.
I guess a couple
I
of
think we
just
deserve it.
high level.
I think we can get an answer.
Can I respond in writing?
Sure.
Thank you.
Can
A
we-
couple of high level questions based on your comment. Is it feasible? What would it take to create a map that reflects reality instead of the
I was going to.
ghost valves and the surprise valve, the missing valves and the surprise valves?
I'm actually thrilled that the first ARPA purchase that we made was something called a timber. And a timber is a GIS measuring tool that it literally sits on a pole. You sit it on somebody's water meter or on the valve or on whatever. You type in what it is, it automatically updates the maps. So yes, we have that tool. It's sitting right there. We're waiting for the water meter replacement because as we go through that, we're going to not only learn how to use it and be trained on it, but then all of us will. So that's what we're waiting on. Then when we don't have any meters for Victor to read anymore, the project you're talking about mapping our valves and exercising all of our valves, because nothing's more frustrating than going in there and needing 6 people to open it. Then that's the next part of his career path is going through and finding out this valve controls what and which direction does the water go. I mean, it's just never been done, but we thought far enough about it to put it as number 1 on the ARPA list, and it's sitting in there.
Good,
Okay.
very good.
Thank you.
Well, you asked if there's questions. Yes, I do have some. Do you have a schedule for routine maintenance and visual inspection of town facilities and infrastructure?
Well, I don't know what those are. Those words cover a lot.
Sure.
Okay, so
Is there a
let me
schedule?
let me respond in writing to that one if I could.
All right, we'll await that.
The questions are about sewer as well, which won't.
Yeah, we won't do
Right.
those. I think you may have answered this one. why wasn't there an available updated schematic of the water system with valve placement and shutoffs and water flow direction? You said how we're going to solve it in the future, but is there no schematics anywhere?
The schematics that we have are incredibly old.
Yeah. How old? Because I've heard water came down Market Street in 1957. Surely they're not that old.
Well, I've got some older than that. But the
Yeah.
ones that we use are from the, I'm gonna say early to mid nineties. The ones that we believe
Well,
are the most accurate.
Well, I think the project was, I was on council when they put the new water tower in, so it's after 2000. So I
Okay.
think, yeah, so I think we have a thing, but can we send these off into writing? I'm not sure council needs to get involved in this.
Gave
Yeah.
Matt the email. 'cause
Yeah.
he had not
Thank you.
received it, and
I want to know the answers.
Well,
we'll get the answers. I'm not saying we're not going to get the answers. I'm saying we don't need to go through this period one at a time. And there are some very involved questions in there. And I don't know if off the top of anybody's head, they should be answered without investigating.
Well, Thank you, and I can also put them on the website so that everybody can have
Well, you can
access to them.
reply, I mean, we have an individual letter from somebody you can,
Right.
or you can apply to her, but there's a lot of questions on there that we don't
Well,
need to take it
yeah.
at a public meeting. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
If you have, if you have specific questions about policy and stuff like that, that's a different issue. Yeah.
My only question was about the System East system. Is it not up and running?
It is up and running. That's what really rang the bell for the lower level.
Where does that bell ring? Where
It
does the
rings
alarm-
in, it rings in Victor's pocket.
Because the water emergency number wasn't working.
The water
So-
emergency number is, sits in the desk back there and then it scrolls from person to person to person. So the first person it goes to is Victor. If he doesn't pick it up, then it goes to Terry. And if he doesn't pick it up, then it comes to me. If you want to know, yesterday morning, I think it was yesterday morning,
Sunday morning.
I took 131 calls.
Well, Sunday morning it didn't work.
Sunday
Yesterday
morning
morning
it
it
did not
worked.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because nobody answered
Nobody, it
anything.
went to the mailbox.
yeah.
It did not,
Well,
nobody.
that,
picked
so
up.
we're looking at that system just to
Good.
make sure that nobody gets a full mailbox. I just wanted you to know that it's designed to get a live human.
Yeah. On what day? What day? This morning,
Yesterday.
Sunday. I called,
I got a mailbox.
yeah,
Yeah.
I woke Victor up because I called him at Sunday morning at 5:30. So I don't know who you, anyway, we're gonna work.
One of the, I called a couple of times. Once, when the King Street stuff was going on, it did what you described. It rang a bunch of people and eventually rolled to you and you answered it and I got the information I was looking for. Yesterday, one of the times that I called it, it went directly to voicemail. And then another
That's one.
time,
You've got to have an answer. That's why she's raising her
Okay.
hand. It's actually.
My speculation is perhaps it went to voicemail because they were answering calls.
okay, so it
like a
was
call waiting.
ring busy and it went, okay.
Yeah.
We'll verify
That makes
Sorry,
sense.
Scott, but
It worked fine this morning. Yeah, everything worked. Because,
Yeah.
calls.
yeah, because I talked
Yeah.
to Victor this morning. He'd already been out for a couple hours and I called him at 5:35. Yeah.
Well, so
Yeah.
that we don't bother them while they're actively trying to repair.
That's
Is
the other
there a way
problem.
that we could have like a message on it, just saying we're aware of it?
I
and-
think what we sort of debriefed today is
Okay.
that
Mhm.
myself or somebody will come in and field calls. So those guys don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we want
And-
them working.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I was talking with Victor. Victor was answering the call the whole time he was out there and he couldn't get anything done because he was too busy answering the phone. Yeah. He did a great job. Yeah, but yeah.
Another observation is that the scroll that's on the top of the website now with the boil water advisory is a good idea. That's great. That's what that's for. If there could have been a scroll yesterday at some, at an earlier point,
Yeah,
so that people who are not on the notification text and email list would at least when they went to go exploring, have been able to find the information. That would have
No,
been,
that's very
helpful thing
fair.
too.
I just didn't get it until I got home.
yeah.
Yeah.
Today, many people came in that were very older residents of our town. They do not use social computers, they do not have phones, they have flip phones. They're not going on Facebook. And they came in because they were concerned that their pipes had frozen and they had no water. So they had not heard anything about this incident at all. And there were quite a number of those.
I know I have encountered what's called a reverse 911.
Yeah.
Code red 911.
Yeah, we've had,
Yeah,
I've talked to Matt about that.
Is that,
CSR was good too, because I think there was a banner up. That's another resource for them potentially as well as the radio.
And Weezer, don't forget
yeah,
Weezer.
that's what
That's
Lisa
what
just
I
said.
did- We did put it on there, yeah. Okay, I think we've kind of, we need to work on this, yeah. Any other,
I've got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
thank you,
Thanks.
yeah, all right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. You did the financial report, okay, police report, we did that, all right, town council comments, Omar, you're up first there, welcome to the council. Good.
Thank you, everyone. I just want to say, this was an experience for the first night,
You picked a good one.
Yeah. There won't be no more ties. This was just a one-day thing. But, yeah, I like the way, how can I say this? This is going to be interesting. Just going to leave it at that,
All right, thank you.
Just
Go
gonna
ahead,
leave
dear.
it at that.
Sarah.
Question on the status of the Queen Street plans.
Still awaiting drawings from Hill, which are coming this week, correct? Yes, and
Thank you.
we'll have another meeting update soon, yeah.
My other questions we've already talked about, so thank you.
Mavis?
Well, the question I wanted to ask before when the school was talking, and it was about Greg Smith's suggestion last month or the month before about renting boilers. And that is an option.
Glenn.
Glenn, I'm sorry. I can't even read it. I wrote it. But you mentioned renting boilers, and I just wondered whether anyone from the school had looked into that, because it sounded like a serious option.
The boiler's working, okay.
Well, it's working, but he was suggesting that they look into it in case it breaks down.
All right, yeah.
That company also evaluates your system and does new installs of systems. So it's full service, and they're out of Norfolk.
So it would be an advantage to at least have them come and look and see and to be prepared in case.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. I just wondered whether anybody is taking that under advisement. Now, I can't read my own writing because I don't know what I did with my glasses, but anyway. I wanted to thank the Onancock Fire Department because they invited the entire council to a dinner, an awards dinner. And I was so impressed with what they do and how they do it. And they showed a film, and the chief said he would probably be coming to a meeting, and I hope that they will show a film or at least one of the films that they've shown us now and in the past of these guys in action. It is incredible and unbelievable. And the other thing I was wanting to mention is that they are in need of volunteers. So if you know anybody who would like to be a fireman, this is the time to get them involved. And I wanted to thank the younger people who have started coming out and volunteering at the fire department. And I was so impressed looking around that room and seeing at least 20 young people and knowing that the senior group is stepping back and letting them take over. Let's see what this says. Oh, and I just wanted to hope that more young people will continue to come to the town council meetings and know that You are welcome here and your thoughts are appreciated. Thank you.
Cindy?
I wanted to respond first of all to Casey's comment. Casey, I know you attend the meetings frequently. Generally, when we hear the EDA report, the report consists of the EDA hasn't met. So I would encourage the EDA to bring forth a meaty report on your activities and explain to all of us what the EDA is doing and the status of your activities and all that kind of stuff, because honestly, it's kind of hard to remember when we hear we haven't met, so I would just encourage you to give us a report, be a little bit more visible. Then I wanted to comment also, and I know that we didn't install the cameras in residential areas, but that seems to be an area that we have continuing problems in. And so I'd like to suggest that perhaps we consider putting them in some of the areas that have been hit repeatedly. I don't know what kind of enforcement we got out of the last actions. I understand that Billy Murphy did track down the people that had done the break-ins and called the sheriff, and the sheriff was out there. I don't know the results, but I just wondered if perhaps we need some cameras in the areas that are getting the car break-ins.
I want to give a shout out to the mayor on Sunday morning when I woke up at 3:30 a.m. And saw there was no water. I sent a text out. I tried to call the water emergency number, and I called the mayor, and he was on it immediately. So thank you, Fletcher. Thank you. It's good to know we're in good hands. I also would like to recognize our former mayor, Russell Jones, who recently passed. Russell served 3 terms as mayor in our town and was highly thought of and loved and respected by many. He was very instrumental, along with T. Bird, of getting our beautiful wharf in, and also with the Riverside Hospital negotiations. And he's a true loss to it. And I had shared with Cindy, I ran into Billy Murphy Sunday morning. It was the bright spot of the day. He said at 2:58, his camera alarm went off and he went out and the guys were there. And he single-handedly basically arrested them. And he knows who they are. And the Accomack Sheriff's Department did come. And we're fortunate to have Billy. He saw the problem and took care of it. So we need to recognize these people who do good things in town. Thank you.
Okay. I was just wondering where we are with the wayfinding signs. Was one of them.
Next month, I think.
I got stuck. And I'm endeavoring to get unstuck and to get things going again with that group.
Okay.
I can chime in just one little thing. I got the VDOT application for their permit. I took their recommendations into account on their own permit. So even though we haven't had anything finalized here, the ball is moving forward with them, so we won't have to wait too long.
Okay. And I know we talked briefly last meeting about Eric Lachansky from the AMPDC potentially coming. And I know we've been super busy as well, so I didn't know if you had a chance to even chat with him about potentially showing up or.
Yeah, can we get him on the schedule for next month, please? Yeah, thank you.
And then I have one thing I wanted to clarify in the Main Street year in review. I think it's the last slide that is in the packet that I handed out to town council, or not, it's the request for matching funds. Both of these, we would need to know your decision by the end of the February meeting if possible. The first grant for the tourism grant actually closes March 13th. And the other grant isn't due till April, but we're going to start working on it and we need letters of commitment. So that's why I wanted to make sure that you all were aware of, we were requesting it. And then if you could potentially bring it up again in the February meeting for consideration. That's all I had for me.
I'm sorry, I have one other question. When the testing results for the water come out, I'm hoping that there will be an update on the scroll and a new post to all the people who've gotten the previous ones. Thank you.
Oh,
Actually, Mary Ellen, did they say how they get their information when they were coming in talking about their burst pipes today? Oh. Okay.
Yeah. I was remiss in not talking about Russell, Jones. I forgot, there is, Russell, Bruce Payone passed away while he was in office, if you remember, and, we asked Russell to, step up and appointed him mayor, and then he ran for another 2 terms after that. He really stepped up and did a great job, and, there is a memorial service in February, and I would like permission for, for us to write a letter of, a proclamation, if you can do that, Matt will work on that and send it to Annie, and yeah. Yeah, I think yes, he's sent out. So there is it's up in Pennsylvania, so I don't think, you're welcome to go, but that's a lot, yeah. So, yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right.
I want to